there's one rule that you should always abide by in politics, and that is you should never give yourself a power that you wouldn't be comfortable with your worst enemy having.
They're saying we need it for illegal immigration, it's going to stop fights, this and that. How is it? And if that's the case, why is it not just for them then?
Because she's not British, she's African. And I said, mate, you're an object.
That banners were cheap, and I thought it'd be quite effective. I thought the Christians take liberties too much to allow the Muslims to pray in front of a area for debate.
The government have said the card gives you easier access to public services. What, you mean like becoming Muslim?
So guys, Kier Starmer has just announced that he's planning to introduce digital ID. I don't know what the he's playing at, but us, the British public, are absolutely not having it. So today we're going to pull some interviews from the British public about their thoughts on digital ID. Nice to see you.
That's what I'm trying to do today. As many of you may know, about 8 different organisations have come together for this protest. And there's actually 4 unofficial ones. But for the next demonstration, which we're doing in February, on a Saturday, don't worry, on a Saturday with a stage, there'll be even more organisations. It is time to unite the entire country. It absolutely is. And what I've noticed is, so recently, we've been organising demonstrations against the Brook Migrant Hotel in Norwich. And in Norwich, what they've done is they arrested me and Luke Sharman on the morning of the biggest protest that Norwich had ever seen. Over 15,000 people turned up. And what they did is they arrested me and they arrested Luke. They banned us from going near any migrant hotels. A couple of weeks later, they arrest the other organiser. They arrest Glenn Taffer. After that, they arrest Cohen and countless other people who were organisers because they kept nicking them. But the thing is, they don't even need to charge people when they arrest them. What they do is they arrest them for something like inciting racial hatred. And without charging them, they release them without charge under suspicion of committing the act. But they put them on bail conditions that prohibit them from attending or organising any demonstrations. So let me get this straight. In a so-called free society, we are being arrested, released without charge, and banned from organising or attending any demonstrations. Is this what freedom looks like?
You are here protesting against digital ID. Why is digital ID a threat?
It is papers, please society. It is the Chinese credit system through the back door. The imposition on your personal data and our rights is absolutely appalling. This is sort of like Kier Starmer taking Orwell's 1984 and using it as a blueprint to control us.
And when people say, well, when Kier Starmer says that this digital ID is meant to control mass migration, what does he mean by that when he can literally just surround the borders with an army?
Well, before you get yourself a job, you have to show your digital ID to your employer, or if you're self-employed, you've got to show them that as well. But it's estimated there's something well over there are 1 to 2 million illegal migrants in this country, they reckon, and they never have any problem getting a job. A lot of them over here on false passports. We know when it comes to Deliveroo type drivers, they swap IDs which allows them to work. When it comes to the black economy, when it comes to the black economy, it just won't work. If you go and see a local friendly drug dealer, he's not going to ask you for your digital ID. Sir, I can't sell you some heroin or crack again because you haven't got the right ID on you. It will attack all the wrong people, and I think digital ID cards will also be forged. Who can tell the difference?
When you hear of a country where they arrest people for straying from the government's narrative, that censors speech online, that they use the courts to silence people, that it controls what people eat and what they drink, and uses digital surveillance, Most of you, rightly so probably, will think that I'm speaking about North Korea. But I'm not. I'm speaking about the UK. Right here, right now. We are seeing people be arrested for causing anxiety. A mother was sentenced to 31 months in prison for a tweet that she deleted. A woman with cancer had police turn up at her house and demand that she apologise to someone for offending them, or she'll be facing arrest. And a man was arrested in the dead of the night for daring to tweet the meme that said, "Fuck Hamas." This isn't China. It isn't Iran. No, it's Britain. We were told that the Online Safety Act would protect children from pornography and violence. Instead, it's been used to censor protests, censor political speech online, and even censor some messages from our elected members of parliament.
Yes.
We've seen Section 14 orders be used at protests like in Epping. I know many of you have probably interacted with that at some point.
Yeah.
And we've seen people arrested for silently praying in their heads. And now in Nando's, if you ever go to Nando's, if you like Nando's, there is a sign that says you are only allowed to drink 1 glass of Coca-Cola due to new government laws. So in essence, the government now polices everything.
So I am here with Young Bob. Young Bob, why are you here protesting against digital ID today?
I think Kier Starmer's at a bit of a bypass. He either continues going on the rhetorical right, trying to lean into the reform voter base, which of course no one's going to be convinced that he's genuinely right-wing and going to do anything, or he moves towards the more like new Labour-esque sort of policies and tries to set himself up as some sort of Blairite figure. And in both cases, on the left and the right, no one's convinced. The left aren't going to appraise it, and the right, of course, are against the collectivization of the power of the state, and we're against a authoritarian state being able to control and communicate all of our identification papers into one controlled system.
And why do you think digital ID is such a threat? So much to the point where you have people, hundreds of people out here protesting. Like, what is the threat with the government having access to us digitally?
It's just further control. I mean, for example, there are sections within place in protests that control when, how, and at what time you protest. So imagine if they have one overarching system by which they can control and monitor what you do. We like to believe that to a degree we have privacy where the state can't really handle our private information. And unfortunately, that kind of imagination is going to be completely void as soon as we introduce digital ID.
And also, I have to ask this question. So maybe 2 days ago, you stood in front of Hyde Park with a sign saying something along the lines of a 53-year-old shouldn't marry.
Don't pretend you know better than the scholars, yeah?
Yeah, they said that we
Don't pretend you know better than the scholars. A 12-year-old male
Hey, Giles, if you look at...
in the UK alone, 17 something, I can't exactly remember, Google it. 7-year-olds was legal to marry 7-year-olds.
Like, what drives you to do that? Because sometimes I look at you.
I saw that banners were cheap, and I thought it'd be quite effective. I thought the Christians take liberties too much to allow the Muslims to pray in front of a area for debate. So I was like, I might as well see what happens. I mean, if anyone really responds in that, it's nothing directed towards Islam. The ages might be referring to a certain prophet, but besides from that, it's not talking about Islam. Nowhere within that does it say Islam is bad or this infects Islam. So if you're defending that, you feel like you need to defend child marriage. That's your problem.
I believe he said the digital app is called One Login, and it is a gov.co.uk product. Now, I have been told in no uncertain terms that should I not verify my ID through this app, heavy fines will follow and that there is no escape. So let us now turn our heads to what the purpose of digital ID is as described by the government. The government have said the following: the card can be used to identify yourself to law enforcement. What do we think of that?
bastards.
The government have said the following. The card can be used to identify yourself to law enforcement. Do you mean like a driving license? Do you mean like facial recognition? The government have said the card gives you easier access to public services. What, you mean like becoming Muslim? The card, it gets better, guys. The card helps protect people against identity fraud. The government cares about us. The government cares about our bank balances. Do you know how much they care about our bank balances and our hard work and our blood, sweat and tears? They tax us into oblivion. I just heard from a gentleman who I've never met that apparently this has all been demoed. Test case beta testing, Vietnam, believe he said the 1st of September. 86 million bank accounts were frozen to those who didn't comply. Now, I can't verify the individual. Any Christians here? In terms of background, guys, national ID, for those of you who don't know, was finally abolished in 1952. Progressivism, modernity, we're going backwards. It was abolished in 1952. You guessed it, it was abolished because populist governments decided it was being viewed as authoritarian and used to politician and which party reintroduced the scheme? Tony Blair and his new Labour, ladies and gentlemen. And obviously, for good measure, it is the Tony Blair Institute which has been pushing the idea of digital ID for years as well. Oh, really? So, we know about good politicians and bad politicians over the years, guys. We know about good decisions and bad decisions. There have been some very few good decisions. But in closing, we all know why we're here. Patriots. The petition was made and it got 100 trillion billion signatures. What's Kier Starmer going to do with that? He's going to wipe his ass with it, is what he's going to do. They're laughing at us. Petitions work. Pressure works. Lobbying works. Think tanks work. Here's one for you. The Big Brother Watch have issued a statement strongly urging the government to rethink. And as usual, we, the voter, the taxpayer, we remain outraged and no change comes about whatsoever.
So I am here with the amazing, intelligent, eloquent, beautiful Sophie Kokorum. Sophie Kokorum, why are you out here today protesting against digital ID?
I think digital ID is a massive threat to our freedom, and quite simply, when it comes in, our freedom is gone forever. That's just, there's no two ways about it, is there?
Now, people keep saying that it's a threat. Can you expand on what type of threat we are facing if this digital ID gets into place?
Well, it encompasses essentially anything. So digital ID can be used for many things. And so we see in China, it's attached to their social credit system. We see in the EU, it's been attacked to their bank accounts and their digital wallets. And by giving this government this information, it means that, for example, if you and I say something offensive online, as we always do, it makes it far easier for people to arrest. So it takes away any sort of anonymity. It makes it far easier for us to be arrested for disagreeing with the government, which we know is already a huge problem. Things such as how much we fly, with certain shops, and they can just almost track anything. So, for example, if they want to crack down on flying, they can say, well, according to your digital ID, we've seen you already this year, so you're no longer allowed to fly. That sort of thing. So it can basically be misused. And the problem with this is the civil service don't recognise that because they themselves believe that they have a good intention. So they're only thinking that they're going to use it for what they want it to, which in their excuse is to crack down on migrant working. So the problem is you may have good intentions, but not everybody does. And not every political leader does. And there's one rule that you should always abide by in politics, and that is you should never give yourself a power that you wouldn't be comfortable with your worst enemy having. Because at some point they may have it and then you're in trouble. And this is exactly the kind of problem we've got here. Not that I trust Kier Starmer anyway. I'd say he probably is my worst enemy, but there we go.
Speaking of Kier Starmer, he said that digital ID is supposed to tackle mass migration. Do you believe that?
No, of course not. And it's said to tackle illegal working. Well, we've got national insurance numbers for that, and they haven't done anything. If they want to tackle illegal working, they should go after the likes of Deliveroo and Uber Eats and shut them down. It's a matter of a political will. And even, asylum seekers, for example, they're going to get digital ID anyway. And there's no difference between digital ID and the national insurance number in terms of what its intention is to stop a migrant working. But people break the law, and we need to crack down on those people that break the law, and not push everyone else into this digital surveillance grid. I mean, it's just an excuse.
So basically, you were talking about the 90s and how things were a lot different. Can you expand on how things were different in the 90s compared to today?
Well, as I was in my 20s in the 90s, and I can tell you, me and my black brothers and sisters, we were raving together. And just like I said to you a moment ago, not once did anybody turn around and call me a coloniser while I was raving in a field in some dungarees. You know what I'm saying? So this division, this has been created. And I don't understand. I mean, obviously they have an agenda, but I would say even before COVID, this coloniser racist issue was not present.
I think BLM is what caused this rubbish, because prior to that, we were all getting along well, and BLM just kind of caused this racial division where everyone saw white people as...
I mean, I don't know whether I'll get in trouble for saying this, but as a 54-year-old woman, the only community that's never assimilated into this country, unfortunately, is our Muslim community. There's always been a distance between them and us, and it's never. I mean, the Pakistani community has been in this country a very long time, but they don't want to mix. And I've seen my family. I'm from Seven Kings, my family, and there's no white people left in Seven Kings, whereas, when I was a child, it was fully white. And then the very nice Hindu community moved in. I'm not saying that. But now you've got the Muslims and the Hindus, and they're fighting amongst themselves now.
There's just chaos everywhere. It's like the Hindus versus the Pakistanis, the blacks versus the whites, the Christians versus the Muslims.
I do feel, though, our black brothers and sisters are coming home slightly.
They are coming home. Yeah, they are. When I first
realising whose family. Absolutely.
So that's another thing black people fail to realise, is that we have more in common with the white community than we do other communities.
You absolutely have.
First of all, we're all Christian. We love church.
I mean, the black community, they're the best Christians in this country.
Yeah.
The best churches, the best everything. I mean, I do, like today on your page, when I said you look beautiful in your dress, and a nationalist came and attacked me, if you saw. Said, she's not British, she's African. And I said, mate, you're a knob cheese. But I don't hold him up for that, You're as British as I am, I do have a thing about maybe that English is
100%
ethnicity.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you, and I appreciate that, because, like the Irish, I believe the Irish are a white culture, and think, why are we apologising for one? We share everything. Pretty much, but we don't have to share absolutely everything,
That's another thing, is like, just because I'm supporting the movement, that doesn't mean I'm claiming to be English. I didn't spray paint my body brown.
Well, if I was going to make somebody English, I'd make you English, girl.
Now, what do you think of digital ID? Do you think it's a threat?
I think it's extremely scary.
Why?
I think, well, just because I know about China, just because this is the most suspicious, underhand, scary government that people don't understand. People have forgotten. Back in my day, government was there to run services. They've now overstepped. They're meant to serve us, and they're not. They're serving themselves, and that is corruption. I'm very ashamed of the country right now, and that makes me very sad.
Thank you so much. It's been so lovely. Why are you out here protesting against digital ID?
Because it's something that's going to happen. It's something that's going to enslave us as a people. It's something that's going to remove or try to remove Christianity from society. And it's something that's never going to go away. So I'm here so I can say I was here and help push this forward.
Now, a lot of people are saying that digital ID is a threat to the British public and it's a threat to our freedom. Can you expand on what this threat is?
Well, this phrase, if you give the government, like we've got in the Labour government, if you give them all your identification, if you're telling them who you are, where you are, and you've got the identification, the wallets or whatever they're using, everywhere you go, they're going to know where you've been. They're going to know who you're speaking to. They're going to know what areas of the country you're doing. And then if it flags up that you're anti-government, what's going to happen is they're going to then track you, and then they'll say, right, we know because we've all got a mobile phone. We've got a tracking system with us at the moment, right? So then they'll say, right, it's a protest up there. We're gonna stop him from going. We're going to make sure the wallet's not working in that zone. And it might not seem like a big thing to some people, but that is the start of it. And then the next bits of it, it will go into, we have our little quarters that we're only allowed into. And we've got to remember, we did this at the freedom rallies, during lockdowns, during all of this. We was talking about this. 2006, Tony Blair had been talking about this, the same thing. It's something the globalists want to put in. So it's something that we need to make sure that it never comes anywhere near it.
And also, Kier Starmer tried to say that this is the best solution to tackle mass migration. What do you think about that?
The best solution to tackle mass migration is to tackle mass illegal immigration. That's the best solution. This is not going to do anything, because I told a lot of people, an illegal immigrant can't have the crown, the statement on their passport. We've got the crown, that thing, right? An illegal immigrant can't have that because that makes it an official document. So I don't know how it's going to tackle illegal immigration when it's only the British people that can have it. So we're not illegals in our own country yet, but that might come a different time. What it's going to be doing is tracking us. That's all it is designed for, because if an illegal wants to work, he's going to work. If there's an employer that's going to employ him, they're going to employ him anyway. They're not going to ask him, have you got a digital ID or not? They don't care. So it's all it is it's a great big camouflage over the bigger solution. And I believe that when Kier Starmer said to Emily Maitris that Davos is the place that he likes the most, better than Westminster, it's because they know how to control it. They're building the plan of control.
You are here protesting against digital ID. Why are you protesting against digital ID?
Because I believe this is the start of digital enslavement. And if we don't not consent to this, it's going to be big trouble, madness for our future, for our children's future. Obviously, yeah, I don't want it. Don't consent to it. I think it's too much. Don't need it. Unnecessary.
And when you say digital enslavement, can you expand on that?
Yeah, digital enslavement. So basically, they're going to just literally monitor every single one of our movements, what we're doing, our transactions. And also, they've brought out a children's digital ID now as well. It's just, why do we need it? They're saying we need it for illegal immigration. It's going to stop votes, this and that. How is it? And if that's the case, why is it not just for them then? We've all got ID. We've got passports. We've got driving licenses. Why do we need to prove who we are? They're the undocumented ones, not us. I've lived in my whole life.
It's a whole bunch of BS.
Yes, mate, it is. And I love your videos.
Thank you so much, guys. Upon further observation of this protest, I'm absolutely shocked, appalled, and disgusted by the little people that have come out. If you can just show the crowd quickly. You mean to tell me, out of the millions of people living in this country, only 200, 300 people can actually recognize that digital ID is a threat to this country? You guys still haven't woken up yet? I don't think you guys understand. Once the government has access to all your information, we are fully controlled. The minute you say something or do something that the government does not like, they can stop your livelihood, guys. This is not about black and white. This is not about Asians versus whatever. This is not about anything. It's all about... Anyways, guys, as I was saying, after we was really disrupted, I just cannot believe that people haven't woken up yet. You guys are so worried about black versus white, Muslims versus Christians, I don't know, Jews against Muslims, not realizing that we are literally about to turn into China. We are about to turn into communist Russia if they implement this digital ID.